Welcome to my year in review for 2025, where we're going over the full year. So let's get started. So first of all, we have on January 8th, Epic Yelmo, and this was our very first fire expansion breedable epic, our first fire expansion epic ever. And my goodness, this was an epic introduction. See what I did there? The cap on this was teased inside the promotion at the end of the year, where we get all of the epics and variants available in the market, and we were wondering what on earth it could be, and everyone was actually speculating at the time maybe it's a rare workshopper because it looked so different, but then it turned out to be Epic Yelmo, and my goodness, what an amazing epic this is. This set off a great standoff towards the epic fire expansion monsters. They didn't have unique animations like some people were hoping they might do, but the amount of triumphantness that these epic quads prevail is just something that can't be mistaken by. It's something that throughout the year we've really just honored so much, especially when we go to see the other ones as well now. Then on January 8th, we had Rare Puppet, who had different colouring. Very nice there, my dear. And then on January 15th, we had Strombone and Donify. Oh, this one was an amazing one. It went inside of the pom-pom verse, and it added so gosh darn much there. Later in the year, we thought maybe, yeah, I would go there, but no, this one went there, and it just absolutely blew it out of the park, man. This is the mythical that honestly surprised me the most in terms of where it went. It was just so surprising the amount of might it had inside of that verse, and the power it brought to it was really amazing, I found. I love little Strombone too with their cute eyes. And then on January 22nd, we had Rare G'day. G'day, oh my goodness, G'day is one of my favourite monsters, and see it be based on paper mache. It was a huge surprise inside of Crescendo Moon. I absolutely adore this variant. I wouldn't say it's quite up there with the rest of them, but oh my goodness, I love it so much. It's a cutie patootie. Then on January 22nd, we also had inside of the shot where it was revealed, we had Zarui's hand, and this marked the return of the hand. We'd been speculating so much for months and months, and this ties towards why I thought the little short tease that we got towards Shimmer, I thought, oh, that's going to be months later, because inside of that same anniversary trailer, we saw the hand, and we've been waiting this long. It'd been months we'd been waiting, and again, seeing it here, it really added this momentum towards waiting for it at the time. And the update itself, it gave it such an impact when it was revealed PlasmaMSM later, which is something I'm very thankful for. It was so fun theorizing at that time. And then on January 22nd, we also got 4 Crescendo Moon costumes. Now, each one of these absolutely splendid costumes. We got so many costumes this year. I was looking through it. We had loads of variants and costumes towards the beginning of the year. It was absolutely jam-packed with variants and costumes. Quite crazy. And that's why the later in the year got me really excited as well. And then as well on January 22nd, we got some seasonal snacks. Now, this marked the beginning. Now we've seen all of them throughout the year, but in the first seasonal event back then, they introduced them, and throughout the year, we've seen them come in every seasonal event. I'm not going to bring them up every time, but I think that at first we had a bad introduction towards these, as the ones that we were introduced towards, they were higher priced, you got less food from them, but eventually through the year we saw ones that gave you more food for less coins or had a lower production time. So there was different traits behind them, and all in all, it was quite an interesting experience. I would say they aren't available for very long, so making sure you grab onto them is quite cool. And honestly, for a game like MSM where you're logging in every day, it does randomize things up quite a bit, which is quite cool for the game, I do think. Then on January 24th, we had the My Singing Monsters coloring book be discontinued. Now, I've put this here because everyone was saying, oh my goodness, at the time. I did not remember this existing. So I want to put it here because this was a part of my childhood, and we are remembering it right now. Yeah. On January 29th, we had Epic Dragon then. Epic Dragon fully embracing the Crescendo Moon Dragon feel behind the monster. I adore how this is supposed to be like a viper. It really adds that dragon feel, and that almost symbol-like metal texture behind it really emphasizes what Dragon is all about as well. And then moving on to February now. So on February 5th, oh, we got Epic Curl Day. This one was based on a Belby, as we immediately theorize. I absolutely adore the cuteness behind this design. It's so different. I feel like lots of people were commenting on the video, I cannot even believe this is just krill, because just the amount of difference there between the forms and how cute it got. It's absolutely amazing. I love how they embrace the shrimp too. Towards the back, you have the feathers, the almost tail-like pluckages coming from it, which is really awesome as well. Awesome throwback there. And then on February 5th, we also had the Dusty Potential beginning. Now, this was the countdown. This was introduced in the Season of Love shorts, where they introduced this website, which kept getting updated through the coming weeks until we eventually landed upon the end of this countdown. And what was interesting behind it is each time they would add different hints each day for the community to get involved with. Like, it had a hint towards the fact that maybe the mechanics might be different on this island, and this led into my theories as well, which I would later post the day before the island released. And lots of people were wondering, how did MPG piece that together? It's because of this wonderful website. Obviously, I did a bit of MPG into with putting the clues together and whatnot, but there's no doubt that this was just an amazing time behind the game to see a website have such a travesty. Travesty isn't really the word, such a hold of information. It was like a storage bunker, and it was an amazing time for the community, and especially amongst my friends, just theorizing what would end up coming. I felt like the hype was through the roof for this update, and seeing the Zarrowy hand again in the Season of Love shot here again, there was just so much mystery behind it. Zarrowy is by far the most mysterious colossal, especially with how we know they were involved in the pocket dimension, and it created an amazing vibe behind it. And with the ethereals, of course, which are probably one of the most beloved classes inside of the game, it was amazing to see it come forward. Now on February 5th, we also got 4 Season of Love costumes. Denchu's in particular here, this marked the beginning of, I believe, the Magicals getting costumes inside of events as well. It might have begun last year. I'd have to double check that, but I believe this was one of the first. And then moving on to February 6th, we have 5 Air Island teleport costumes. And this marked the beginning of getting just costumes related to the island in general rather than the seasonal events. It felt like this year there was just that many costumes they wanted to make that sometimes they had to make up reasons to add more. And I know that sounds crazy, but when you can only make so many Season of Love costumes, and I feel like they want to hold on to some for future reference and whatnot, so they also just thought, let's throw in these everywhere throughout the year, which, okay, I mean, Ragmop, we absolutely adore that one, and whatever we're going on with Bar, look, teapot galore. And then on February 12th, we got Rare Cantarell. Now this one, I mean, mushrooms. It just went fully into the fantasy theme, which I thought was awesome. Then on February 15th, we get the Dusty Potential ending. Now the countdown finally ended, and we got the Plasma Islet trailer. We managed to piece together the day before that this probably would involve the Ethereal Island statues, the live formula ones in some way, and it did. It turned out with the Primordials, which was a hugely impactful moment because we've known about these statues for so long inside of the game, and to see it come to life with Loeb just blew my mind. I need to state just how amazing this moment was for the community, because I never thought we would see ethereal islands. I literally remember being on a call with the monster handlers when I was designing the Bemoth costume, and I went, there is no way that we will ever get ethereal islands just for the single elements.
I think the planets, it would be really cool because fans are always saying, oh, we want individual islands for each of the ethereal elements. Maybe the planets could be based on each of the ethereal elements then.
So how about we do a little, this was originally supposed to be going around Bemoth, little tiny planets referencing the fact that maybe they might be on this costume, but no. Turns out they were planning this all along, and MPG, there's no wonder Jen went quite well said that. Well, no, I think that this was an amazing trailer, and just the way it came together with the Dusty Potential countdown, and the lead up was extraordinary. And then on February 19th, we got Plasma Islet, and this marked, I want to point out the beauty of this, because this marked the beginning of an island not being just a head. We have had so many islands following the exact same template throughout the whole game's lifespan, and this showed just the beauty that the My Singing Monsters artists can pull off in doing what they are capable of and imagining inside of their heads what kind of aesthetic they want to build upon. I want to see hands, I want to see feet, I want to see everything you could possibly imagine of, and this marked the beginning of that, and even more later inside of the year that we saw just these beautiful designs. It kept getting better and better, and I truly want to call upon that because I don't feel like people might establish that enough, because islands have been very similar for a long time, and I've wanted to break out, and this was it. And the trailer. Oh my god, I know we just talked about it, but the absolutely amazing awe, then the impact you felt because you'd been waiting to see what Zaroe had been up to, and then to see the hand all of a sudden, and the fact that the island itself was a hand, it was like, wow, Zaroe's hand, we've seen it all along, grabbing the ethereals, and then all of a sudden, here we go. We now have the island itself being a hand. The sky, just the song too. Can we talk about the song? The song was absolutely extraordinary. If you were to propose to me the Ethereal Islands before, I would have gone. And I genuinely thought this even after Plasma Islet came out. I feel like I've only just come around really with Shadow Islet. It's one of those thoughts that you keep inside of your head. But I always thought, oh my god, how are they going to pull off so many islands? It feels like we've seen these ethereals before. I wonder how they're going to remain keeping them so hype. But then as we kept on going here, I'm so involved with these islets now. I was questioning at first, why would you do this? Why not do something else? But then it feels like these islets are a part of the game and they cannot be removed. They are a part of this special ethereal class, and we love the ethereals, and the fact that they chose not to end that saga too early was absolutely a magnificent moment. The song too, I have to pull reference here towards that verse when Yuri plays. That was just a huge surprise. The fact when you place down Loeb, a secret verse opens up, that is just unheard of. I felt like there were so many surprises inside of this island. I love the critter being a hand as well. I'm obsessed. And then also on February 19th, we got love. Let's talk about this wonderful baby. I mean, we've never had any new class in the game for, well, ages. And then we had the Paranormals and Titan Souls as well, just a few months before. And then again here with the Primordials, it's like this year we just kept on building upon the game even more, which was absolutely extraordinary. And what I love about this class is how it draws upon something we've already known. These statues, it's created a lot of fan theories and concepts and fan art inside of the community. I absolutely adore how much of an impact they've had, and the fact we can theorize, oh, who's gonna be coming next? And what's really exciting about them is they changed the designs up so, and then like from that original starting point, you have the starting one, but then the statue looks completely different towards the end monster. And it was an absolutely revolutionary moment. I love Loeb too. I mean, this one is instrument is an avocado. I was sat there, and you'll see this in a future video, I was sat there with Monster Handler Celestin, and he was telling me how he made it, and I was like, how on earth are you doing this? And he was like, this is my first island, and I was like, well, bring it on, baby. And then on February 19th, we also got Epic Feng Prey. Epic Feng Prey based on the original concept art, which we somehow predicted. Well, we were on a predicting spree at the beginning of the year. I think that this was an amazing callback. I love whenever I see my concept art come forward, and the fact they made it so colorful and energetic. It really felt so wholesome inside of the game, and a huge nostalgic throwback for pretty much any My Singing Monsters fan out there. If you like MSM, like me or an Omega fan, you love this monster. And then on February 19th, we also had Rare Sporo looking very nocturnal. I love the theming, especially with how the mythical island critter, it goes behind, doesn't it, the moon, behind the lunar apparatus, and then, oh, it's like it's night and then day. I like that's very much a theme on mythical, and to see that be drawn back into a variant was very cool. And then on February 19th, we also had the Mute All button being added to all islands. This is perfect because I always want to hear just duets, trios, pairings of monsters, and when you have all of the monsters on an island, it could be quite cumbersome to try and pull all of that together, so to have it be just one button in one nice place on it, the main structure behind the island is awesome here. Interestingly though, we don't have the Celestial Island one yet, and the Woodland Island one came a little bit later. I wonder why. Looking at you, Elder Celestials. Anyway, moving on. then on February 19th, we had the Monica level avatars being added. These were just amazing. I love the amount of creativity that the monster handlers felt like they could have with these. They had memes inside of there. They just had cool designs. Some of them had about 10 levels just had the celestial star signs. I was like, no, because the rest of the ones were so cool. But I just wanted all cool ones, okay? But no, we got so many awesome ones. We got the Fumbies cool glasses one. You guys know I love that one. We got all kinds of ones there. We got the Mythical Maven one. I like that one a lot too. There was just so many. I'm going to have to put them all on screen here. There were throwbacks to each dimension though as well, like Thingia with the Thumpies verse, the cool glasses Smunkin one. There was just so many. Even the Spirit one, that statue was drawn so majestically and it looks so much more alike to Spirit. I love that. And then moving on to March now, we have Epic Pong Ping, the Master of the Dark Arts. This one was, well, this one was quite we love MSM because it pulled off these amazing ugly monsters, and that's what makes you love Mysing monsters so gosh how much, because a monster can be ugly, it can be cute, and it can be anywhere in between. We know about it with the paranormals now. And then moving on to March 5th, again, this was a great duo, honestly, because then we had Rare Dentures. It was literally based on unhygienic teeth. Ooh, look at that rot. I feel sorry for the always, well, sad one. I mean, they have a little bit more to be sad about. And then on March 5th, we also got Dawn of Fire. Yeah. Oh, this was the moment we had been waiting for. I feel like all along through the mythicals, everyone had been calling out to one in particular, and that was Nya. We thought, oh, they gotta play in the Pum Pum verse, but they didn't quite. And that's why Stromboni was honestly the big surprise. Because if you look back now in time, you can see Stromboni, and it added this strength towards that. It was so awesome. I feel like it would have blown up if Nya did, but the fact that they went at the beginning of the song was truly an amazing part too, alongside Punkleton. I never thought we'd really see much expansion at the beginning of the continent, so that was a huge surprise to me. And the amount that they added towards the end into absolutely a wonderful monster. I adore them ever so dearly. And then on March 12th, oh, we have Owleski. Yeah. Now, Owleski, I absolutely do love them. They are one of my favorites ever, and where do I even begin? The way their eyes move and fluctuate to convey the emotions that the monster is feeling, it's absolutely amazing. I've never seen eyes on any kind of art be made whereby you can see the amount of emotion just from the eyes individually. It's like the eyebrows aren't even necessary on this because it's like, oh, it's being quirky as it moves its eyes. I find that absolutely flawless. What an amazing counterpart too. Then you move on to the mirror variants, the minor one. The minor Owlesk is an absolutely, it is horrifying. And the way they've flipped the monster over too, it was absolutely crazy. I love the amount of difference between minor and then major Owlesk. That really was an awesome change. I felt like the fact that it's to when its eye opens up, they really thought individually about how the animations, the design can play into each form and help with that difference too. Like the pipes on the minor form or for that percussion sound, and they thought about that with the major. I think it was just an amazing conflict to design, and I love that whole oh, so cute. And then we have on March 12th spell, we have 4 Clover Spell costumes. And out of all of these, I've got to give a shout out towards Pladdy. Pladdy's costume looked that different. Everyone inside of the comments, and we always have one costume usually, or a few in a year, maybe 1 or 2 in the year, that look like completely different monsters, and that was it for Pladdy. I remember people were confused though, because the rare came out at the same time, which was a bit confusing. Because then on March 19th, we got Rare Pladdy, and this looked like exactly like what I'd been predicting for years. I made an edit of Rare Pladdy. I made them with the leprechaun-like colors because I thought, oh my god, this is a perfect fit for Clover Spell, because you see bagpipes all throughout St. Patrick's, which Clover Spell is based upon. And I thought it was an absolutely amazing design. The weird hair too, I do not even know. I mean, at first when I saw this, I can see why the costume and the rare were getting mixed up, man. This is what they had to do, though, for Clover Spell, because it's just too much of a good opportunity. Sometimes you see things and you know you have to do them, and this was one of those moments. And then moving on to April now. So on April 1st, we got the Doma Days game. Now, this is where we truly started to see an expansion upon the Doma lore inside of My Singing Monsters, which the paranormals are heavily grounded upon. Inside of this game, it was absolutely amazing the fact that they made a game for April Fools at all, and they were dedicating all this time towards Doma. It created such a horrifying atmosphere around Doma and created a mystery whereby you were wondering, why do they have this basement and mystery room inside of Doma HQ? It created almost, when you imagine like Stranger Things style, there being this huge mystery behind a company that you have to figure out. It created all of this vibe, and it really did set them apart as being villains inside of the My Singing Monsters lore. Seeing how it continues to be advanced upon is going to be really interesting inside of the future. And of course, it cannot go without saying that the official Ethereal Island Epic Box sound was revealed early inside of this game. Everyone in the live stream who told me that day, take your headphones, put them on MPG, because it's not official. You were all wrong, and I'm glad I did not. Anyway, moving on to April 1st again here, because as well on that day, we had the Rare Monculus glitch be fixed. Now, back in December last year, they put Rare Monculus on sale, fully powered up, where you could buy them for 2 million coins. And everyone had islands of Rare Monculus, tons of them placed down on the island for up to almost 3.5 months, which was absolutely crazy here, guys, because they only just fixed it then. And what was crazy about this is the people who had placed down all of the Rare Monculi, they removed the original ones as well. So if you had all of the ones from the glitch, but then you perhaps had one, they removed that one as well. Now, if you got in touch with support and asked them, this is what I did. I said to support, look, I've got evidence. This is the one I had. They placed it back down for me. But if you didn't go ahead and do that, then they've removed it though as well. So it was quite an interesting situation to see unfold, because we never really had a glitch like that be inside of the game before, and they didn't remove the currency either, so it was almost like, yes, okay, we understand that we got this wrong, but at the same time, we're not going to remove your currency, we're just going to take back what you shouldn't have, which was an interesting situation. And then on April 2nd, this is where the amazing animation started for the epic mythicals. And I state that, and that is wrong, for the epics in general. The epics, I feel like this year have gone from here up to here because of the animations and the way that they have incorporated the design into the animations themselves. Later in the year, as we go forward, you can see this just even more pronounced, and I feel like this is the beginning of that. So I want to just pay a huge shout out here towards Epic and Glow, because I don't feel like this year would have been the same, because we did have a lot of variants this year. So I just want to point out Epic and Glow. God, when that base animation plays on Mythical Island and then the orbs started flying, I was freaking out. It's just playing around with one of them, and then all of a sudden the base Mythical Island animation it goes absolutely crazy, which was mega awesome to see. And the faces on the chest too, and the fact that it's bio, it went into the beyond a little bit more, and it's supposed to be fully based around that, like we theorized too. Absolutely amazing stuff. And then on April 2nd, we got Epic Enemy Beans, as I kept pointing out at the time. I wanted them to be fully based on beans, but instead we have some red beans adorned upon them, and they've chose to make them quite a glamorous monster this time around. I love Epic Enemy, the dress. It's such a fashionable fashionista. Perhaps not as much as Clover Vera. Clover Vera's odd to be, ain't she? But we do love Epic Enemy. Then moving on to April 2nd, we also got 5 extravaganza costumes, including Peep Show. I will not ever forget them naming a costume for Sponge called Peep Show. I'm sorry, it's just the costumes. I always find one to at least even like more in the pile. There's just one that is always hilarious to me, and then I just go off on that's what feels like always happens, and I want that to continue forever because I adore it. And then on April 2nd, we also got the Dawn of Fire Wishing Well, and this marked the beginning of the structures inside of Dawn of Fire returning. What is quite interesting here is they brought back all of the scrapped items behind the Wishing Well. So all of the ones like the bubble item, all of the ones Jack in the Box, they brought them all back just for this. And I think that's amazing because more items in Dawn of Fire is the whole mechanic behind the gameplay. It helps, and coins didn't really have much of a purpose either before this, so it was really nice to go around. I mean, things inside of the market, you often can't buy them quite as well because there's lots of players who just buy things instantly inside of there. So the fact we got something else to spend them on, which was really awesome in my opinion, and just I need to pay homage to this. The fact we had this structure, which we'd known about for years, come back into the game was an extraordinary experience. I never thought we would see this. I mean, this has been missing for years now. It was in the original promo art for behind the game when it first released. It was supposed to be there. And then 10 years later to see actually be added, and it being on the Mirror Islands to all these years, I just didn't think they would ever add it. And then it was here, and I am in love. And then on April 3rd, we got 5 Water Island teleport costumes again, because we can't have enough costumes yet. Gotta throw that bullseye octopus. And then on April 9th, we got Rare Pink Hound. Now, this one, I didn't feel like with Epic and Glow, we got the lore and the beyond quite what I was expecting. We didn't expand upon it. It was rather based around that concept. With Rare Pink Hound, though, it introduced a whole new species called the Bootle. The Bootles are supposed to be what Rare Pink Hound are based on, and a species from the beyond. I found this lore to be fascinating, and I hope we can continue to learn more about the beyond, and which is the monster world's outer space, as we continue discovering more of My Singing Monsters. And then April 11th, we had a huge collab. Wow, we had CG5 times Break Out of the Box. This was the official Woolbox theme song as it was declared inside of the game. Absolutely amazing stuff. I love the 3D animation inside of it, and getting such a big collab to happen between the game is something that happened quite a bit throughout this year, which was really exciting. And then on April 16th, look at them shade, Joe. We got Ethereal Island Epic Box, and the hardest monster ever to make his way inside of the game. My goodness. Until later in the year where it eventually did get possible, but is still the hardest monster. The epic ethereals on Ethereal Island are gosh darn hard to breed. They are the hardest monsters ever to obtain inside the whole game. The odds to get them are unbelievably low, and the fact that this guy came along, I was just absolutely floored at the time. The diamond cost as well, it was literally impossible for many months. I'm just gonna point it out right now, until Paranormal Carnival, the minor one, came out, where you could get wild cards to power this guy up. That was almost, a year later though. It was crazy to me how hard this was, and I can remember at the time, because this was paired with the epic wobblins, thinking, oh my goodness, this is really hard, and I brought this up on camera as well. I don't feel good about it, because I obviously got the diamonds from the monster handlers, and I've played free to play all my life. It's only recently, in the past year, that they've started gifting me them, and I felt bad because I was showcasing content that I didn't feel like you guys could get. And what I want to bring up here is the fact that I'm so happy that you guys can manage to get this now, and just now with that over, let's talk about how amazing this guy is. Ethereal Epic Box, based on a Discord mod. You cannot imagine the amount of fan art and love that this monster got just because of its personality inside of the game. I absolutely adore how this monster was shaped together. I mean, sure, we've had Epic Boxes, but this one was just loved so much, because I think it managed to create a space with inside people. It managed to make a connection just because of what it is based upon and how people feel within society nowadays. I think it made a real connection, and the sound too was absolutely extraordinary. The whole personality was conveyed throughout its animations, and I love the way its sound is produced. It almost being like this super heroine creature. It's so mysterious. It perfectly fits Ethereal Island and Zaro and that whole not quite being quite well put together landscape, with the prototype ethereals being on there as well. Let's go on over to April 16th again here though, because my god, we got the epic wobblins this day as well. What a momentous day, guys. I mean, these, when I said epic and glow was the beginning, I meant it. These epic wobblins were next level, baby. Looking at the animations behind these, behind Epic Brump and Epic Zinth in particular, those animations was so gosh darn cool. They were so well animated. You went on over to them because Wobbling Island's been out for years, and they just felt like next level compared to them, which was absolutely amazing. I feel like the Epic Wobblins too, they are so different in comparison to the rare Wobblins. The rare Wobblins really set out upon this darker theme, but then you get to the Epic and they feel like they flipped a switch whereby they went, let's just make these almost completely different looking monsters, give them new idle animations, and really show love towards Wobbling Island, because this is one of the fan favorite islands. And this is why I think throughout the year you saw more people asking, please do custom animations for all the variants, because this shows how much of an impact they can have with Epic and Glow, the Epic Wobblins. Even there in the year when we get to them, they create a whole different monster, and in my opinion, if I have to wait longer for a variant just so they can be cooler, I would always choose that. These change my whole perception behind what an Epic can be, and I love them ever so dearly. I mean, as well, the rares were just, I thought these are cool, but then this just completely changed my mind and went, my god, this is the class that I'm here for. What were we even doing before? Because I am here. And then on April 16th, we got the Polarity Amplifier. This was a brand new structure on Wobbling Island that basically eventually will let you fully max out Polarity and basically act like a Unity tree in the final upgrade when we eventually get Epic Wobbox. That's the thing of the very, very future, so let's not worry about that. And then we also got the Wobbling Island Mutall button with this as well, so that implies when the Celestial Elders come along, like when the Epic Wobblins did, we'll get a structure then too for the island to be able to mute all of the monsters. And then on April 16th, we got 4 Echoes of Eco costumes. I love the throwback towards Grapefruit Grove. We've got one of the block fruits found throughout the game on Octopus there, and we've also got the monkey head from the Grapefruit Hotel, Monkey Hotel there. So that's really awesome on Stog as well. And then moving on to Red Spy Trap. Red Spy Trap, lots of berries. I found this was an awesome design. It reminded me of Sky Painting a lot, this one. And then I like the creature in the middle changing a lot too. They must do a lot with that with the Epic there. And we also got on April 22nd, the My Singing Monsters debunker episode. This revealed, it was like a lost body. It was a spawdy, y'all. We got so gosh darn much lore. I adored this video so gosh darn much. Monster Handler Matt sat in the chair. He played the fire at Scrapped Islands for the first time, 1 second of them all at once. And I was craving for them so gosh darn bad. They knew we wanted them, and we got them later in the year, luckily. But the biggest takeaway therefore for the year, which I've wrote down, seeing as though we got those, is they revealed Pong Ping's concept art inside of the video. We knew that Pong Ping was the original Water Island quad before Shellbeat, but we'd never seen the concept art before, and I'd always wondered and had freaked out as a kid thinking, oh my god, who is Pong Ping? And then to see them finally come, it was awesome, but I didn't know what they were supposed to be based off. With the Fire Quad, to see them revisit it was cool, but now to see the concept art, which I'd known about this name inside of the game, Pong Ping, and what it could mean, and just the fact I'd always as a kid wondered what that could be, to see it, it meant a lot to me personally, so I've wrote that down. We got a lot of lore related things. I would recommend that to anyone who's a lore enthusiast like me to go and watch that video, because that was an amazing one. And then on April 23rd, we got Rare Rorik. Rare Rorik was supposed to be based on ghouls and this concept of being wicked and a witch. I like the theming behind this. It played off really well, especially considering how much of Magical Sanctum is based on this magical feel, the whole island lighting up. It really gives me that feeling, and to see a variant play into that even more was absolutely a majestic moment to me. I feel like whenever I look at Enchanting, that is the embodiment of this magical episode that I see Magical Sanctum playing off. I feel like throughout the year they eventually started to up on the Magical Sanctum rares, because they realized, we've not done any of these, and the rare magicals are going to be ended. So it felt like this is the point where they started to speed up quite a bit, which was quite a weird occurrence, to be honest. And then on April 30th, we got Rare Plinkaju. This one was based on crystals, this cave-like appearance. It played into Mirrorbone Island so well because of the cave island representation on that other off, I just had to place it down on there because I find that to be the best example of this, and we've not really seen another example whereby they might fit the Mir Island more. So maybe one of the epics, when we keep on going here, they could do that, which would be really cool as well. We also got on April 30th. See, I'm telling y'all, the magical Sanctum Rares. We got Rare Mushaboom. This, wow, the magical Sanctum Rares feel like they are way cooler than the other Rare Magicals to me. I'm sorry for pointing this out, but I feel like the developers and just the artists in general, they probably have a special place for Sanctum like we do because of just how they were pure magical hybrids that we found on there, and it was like a different kind of experience towards the original magical saga that we had with the Magical Islands. It felt different, it feels cool. I like the fact that the developers played homage to that and made these really awesome designs. And my god, this is really cute. It's based on those different fruit pastel-like things you can find in America. I'm gonna have to put that on screen what that is because that's gone from my head, because that's not a British thing. Then moving on to May now. On May. We got Dawn of Fire, Cherubble and Dawn of Fire. Oh, they are the cutest thing. I could not believe the addition that they added towards the ending of the continent. The ending of the continent just soared to me as being one of this transcendent verse, and it remains to be my favorite verse inside the whole franchise. And I think Cherubble plays a huge part inside of that. All of the mythicals do. I could never have imagined every mythical ending up playing there, and then for it to work so well as well. It was quite a weird experience and absolutely amazing. I love the addition Cherubble has. It did make me cry. I can remember in my reaction. I just think it was so heartfelt and heartwarming. It reminds me of feeling this peacefulness and this tranquility behind life, and just keeping that in mind, and also being able to almost provide this upbeat tone inside of it. It felt so transcendent, like to the Mythical Island end verse. It felt so special to me, and I love the little blubberflies around Cherubble as well. An adorable design. I love them very dearly. Then moving on to May 14th, we have the Kruvlaftian. Oh my god. The Kruvlaftian Crocus. How have I not wrote more text on this? Because this was an amazing day. Sorry, I'm freaking out. And then we got the electric guitar. We got this was an amazing moment. I thought I'd seen a Titan Soul. I had not seen a Titan Soul till this thing came around. This has been officially declared as the monster of the year, and rightfully so. This was the coolest gosh darn thing ever. It played an electric guitar. The amount of impact that this monster had, and the way it moved the island itself, there is just nothing like a Titan Soul right now. And this shows what every Titan Soul should try and be, because it was so gosh darn cool. The way it moves and its eyes and its animations, they played into the glowing effect and making this feel like a super heroine, almost transcendent creature. It feels so alien and cool, and I love how alien each one feels. It feels like they play into the landscape so gosh darn much with these monsters. It makes me think, oh my god. Just every time I play that song now, it's an absolute bop as the guitar starts coming in and the little pops. How do you even come up with that? It's just next level kind of stuff. I could not believe the effects they had on the island to all of the glowing. It felt like it really played into almost like, you know, the note structures that you see, the different chords, how they're on different lines, and it was like I don't know. I just got that feeling amongst it. And then on May 14th, we also, oh my god, I love that. I'm just gonna say how gosh darn cool it was once more. And then on May 14th, please give me more time. So on May 14th, we got Epic Cherubble. This one is based on caves, and oh my god, I knew because the rare Cherubble was so gosh darn cute. I said it's one of those ugly scenarios once more, and honestly, it was okay. I will admit, it was quite weird to see it awake once more. I feel like the being awake is mostly because they didn't change the design quite as much as what it needed so that the animations could be different for this one. So I feel like they just opened the eyes and were like, we'll just leave it at that. I love the dragon blubberflies though too around it. I love how they have different faces. That was by far my favorite part behind this one. May 14th, we had Rare Mimic as well. I feel like this went to the mammalian, mammal-likeness behind the monster, how it's based on a parrot a lot more, which was cool to see. And then on May 14th, we got the 4 Perplexplore costumes. Oh, we had a little one for Tapricon. Oh, I'm not gonna lie, I actually forgot that came. That's quite bad of me, isn't it? It's because I got Rare Tapricon this year. And the Rare Packet, there was a lot for MPG and Owless. Honestly, there was a lot of favorites this year, and I loved it. We got Waddle's outfit though too, plain dress up, love it. Then on May 14th, we got the Hide Titan Soul links be added. So I had to put this on here because all the time the monsters would glow this color and you'd see these symbols above them, and it was okay in knowing which monsters you'd activate towards the Titan Soul, but honestly, you don't really want that. So just this feature being added, it was like the stars to me, whereby I just didn't want it, but there wasn't a way around it. I purposely don't level my monsters up to level 20 because I don't want the star effects around them and them to glow on whatever. So I don't really like the particles. So the fact they hid it here just meant so much to me. If they could do that for the star particles at level 20, I would be obsessed. And then on May 14th, we also got them adding sounds and game effects. I also want to bring up that these were added just throughout the whole year. It felt like there was a huge focus on it for some reason. There was the sound effects being changed, like when you collect currency. There was all of the teleport effects. They made the game feel so much more cool. I felt like it was weird at one point though, because they kept changing it so much. I was like, what is going on right now? But it was an amazing change, particularly with the teleport one. I like all of the new effects on the breeding structure too. It just adds that little bit more impact inside of your gameplay and makes it feel a lot more cool, which was awesome to see. Maybe if you felt confused too, leave a comment down below. It felt like every time I would go in the game, it would change. I was like, oh, okay. May 21st, we had kissy kissy darling, kissy kissy. We had Rare Schlep based on candies. I mean, look, you had Schlep. And then Schlep, of course, she's got to get a princess on her, literally like I said in my theory, and then, look, she did. And, well, what on earth did we end up with? It was beautiful. And then May 25th, how do you put this with Rare Schlep? I was Red Davragol. This is one of my favorite monsters ever. I love this one so gosh darn much. The fact we saw it inside of the Croflaftian Crocus trailer, I love them. I love the bat eyes. It reminds me of the My Little Pony creatures. They're so cute. I want my little candy leprechaun for the epic. Please, please, I would do anything. If you ever take a theory seriously that I ever put out, please take the epic Tapricon theory seriously, because I need the candy Tapricon. I love this guy so much. I think that their horn is so gosh darn cute. And when it came out, I saw inside of the comments, people were saying MPG is gonna love this, and MPG so gosh darn love this. This is MPG written all over it, and it will be my profile picture for so gosh darn long. It's gonna take a lot to beat this guy, because the cuteness is something else. That dog loved it as well. And then moving on to June now, we had on June 4th, the Mech Islet teaser. So this was at the very end of the Creator Month reveal trailer, which also came on June 4th. Now, June 4th was a very weird time because they revealed the whole month's worth of content at the beginning of the month, so it meant that there was no surprises, really, other than the huge reveal, right, of what we'll get onto, but it felt very weird. I don't know why they did that, and they did that as well for Month of the Mythical, so I hope that they don't reveal the whole month's or whatever worth of content, because it means that we don't get really surprised, and I feel like the element of surprise is so important in My Singing Monsters. It's what brings me a lot of joy, so that's always why I do bring that up quite a bit inside of whenever I'm bringing up my feelings upon things, and I think you guys feel the same as well. It also creates a lot of confusion because then people will comment, why are you not checking this out, MPG? Because people think it's in game, and everyone will comment that. It just creates a lot of confusion. So I'm hoping we can maybe sort that out. But let's talk about now the beginning of Creator Month. So this is the first ever Creator Month. Now, Creator Month, my goodness, I've got to say, this is an amazing idea. I thought we would not see Month of the Mythical return in any form, and I was saying, oh, I hope that we get another month just dedicated to the fans, and then they had the same idea as well, which was an amazing thought here. I think that the community is the best part behind My Sea Monsters, so getting a whole month behind that meant so much to me. I think it was really awesome as well. Inside of this month, the login screens changing, that we got 4 different ones made by these awesome creators. And that honestly was my favorite part behind the whole month to me. And I say that very sincerely because I love my community so much. And then when you guys, oh, I'm going to get emotional, but when I saw you guys getting some of you to be on the loading screen, which is the main place that people come in and load up My Sea Monsters, it was such a wholesome thing to me. I hope that they can continue to embrace the community but put it into the game in different ways, because this was truly a revolutionary moment to me. I could not believe that. I mean it very wholeheartedly. It was shocking to me. I was vibing. And then on June 4th as well, we got the Creator Series costumes. These costumes, we had the Bemoth one, which was designed by me and all of the different creators. I actually got to name it Planetarium Voyager because the rest of the creators didn't really seem that bothered, but MPG being MPG, really. Well, if I can name anything, I'll do anything. PlasmaMSM, you know I will. The rest of the creators were like, I was like, oh my god, my time is here. Anyway, we ended up basing it around Bemoth because I said, the rest of the creators was just going along with it. I was like, you'll let me do it. I was like, oh, thank God. Anyway, I said the community will really like if you do it for Bemoth because we don't how to workshop a costume and people will love that one the most. So then everyone went, oh, okay. And then we ended up doing it. And I was like, oh, thank you. Thank you, creators. I don't know if you... I don't know what was going on there, but thank you for letting me have a moment. But I was like, please, guys, put your stuff in, but they didn't really seem to mind, so I just kept going anyway. Moving on. We also had the Pango Matt Shea costume, and most importantly, out of all of these costumes, we had the Nerve and Dromedary ones, which were made by the wonderful Spooktical contest winners. These ones are the most important to me because those were made by the community other than your spearhead creators or whatever. Those are the community that I think of because you guys are the ones who make it out and give me everything and whatever. So whenever I get to see things like this, it makes me feel so gosh darn happy. So I just want to point out here, these are some of the most important costumes, especially as we go on later in the year. There's another set that I think are important as well. You guys might know what those are, but we'll get on to that. And then we also had on June 4th, Epic Zucker. Oh, this goofy guy. I adore how this one has no arms and they just paid homage towards its instrument. It feels so quirky and cool the way it moves. It feels like they just went into this fun vibe, and honestly it made me vibe because when it's Epic Zim or Epic Zucker, it feels like they just vibed with the Wobbling Island song, these animators that were making it, and you really see that shine through inside of these animations and sounds and designs. I think the Epic Wobblins do something really well that perhaps the other monsters don't in captivating designs so that the animations can thrive. I've seen that now, and I think they need to keep doing that and thinking, how can we make this design so that the animations can exceed and be awesome, because it doesn't need to be quite as akin to the original, because we are making new animations with these. How can we continue to make and branch out on this idea, I think is quite important. And then on June 4th, we had Wobbling Island Epic Monculus. It finally came. This had not been in game. Epic Monculus had been here now for a year, and we'd still not seen this guy, and then they threw them in, and it had some of the it was amazing. Original Epic Monculus animations, they were so stuttery, it felt almost very jiggered, but then you went on over to Wobbling Island Epic Monculus and it felt like an evolution because the animation behind this guy was so flawless and it felt like it paid homage towards almost that stuttery nature. It's almost like the coolness that you feel out of Epic Monculus, but also made it feel a lot more flowy and not quite as stuttered, which was really cool. I've got to say too, what an amazing time for Wobbling Island. I like that because Life Formula ties to it in a way. And then on June 4th, we got 4 Life Formula costumes as well. Life Formula is an amazing event, I think, to base costumes around because there's so much ideas that you can participate in this idea of creation, like the creation of mighty monsters with the Shark Mammoth one. The Shark Mammoth one was based on the Shark Mammoth concept art, and I adore just how much they went into that. I think it's amazing the fact that they really went and said, okay, people love this mammoth concept art, let's see what we can do with that and make it its own costume. I love when they do references like that towards the past because My Singing Monsters has very rich lore. The Xelium one was really awesome as well. And then on June 11th, we had Epic 2. Oh, we knew that she'd turn out ugly, and she did. Oh, we love you though as well. I like how it's based on an arachnid. It felt so cool. I like it whenever I have a variant that looks so immensely different. It feels amazing to have inside of the game, and when you put them side by side, it gives you goosebumps because you think it looks so cool in comparison. This is what epics are all about. And moving on to June 11th, we have Red Agent. Really a good pairing here again because they feel like they have in parts some kind of kinship with one another. This one seen the magical format once more come through and shine through. It's the whole vibe behind Sanctum, and it really pays off inside of Red Agent's design. And then on June 21st, we got the Mech Islet trailer. Yo, Vention finally made it outside of that workshop, and I love that we had a whole gosh darn trailer just paying into that. I found it really cool inside of this trailer that we got to see Zaro's workshop and how they are building out these islets too. That was a really important point for me, and I found that to be really awesome too. And then on June 25th, we got Mech Islet. Oh boy, this design, oh, I love it so gosh darn much. The technology integrated inside of it, once again, it feels so different and embraces the elements so well. I find whenever I listen to Mech Islet, I just go into major hype zone, and I didn't talk about it with Plasma Islet, did I? So I should do that. The mechanics behind the islets are amazingly different. I think that they are definitely for endgame players. They are very much in that realm because of the shard price and whatnot. The mechanics, the fact that you go down and you almost break down elements is so different towards working your way up. It's such a different kind of format. Yet it works too because of them being smaller islands, thus the word islet. It means that each monster often has a very well contributive part, and you find that each monster is worthwhile inside of the song in a way perhaps even above other islands because of the smaller casts. I find this island so amazing, the prototype likeness behind it. It's almost got that life formula energy circulating around it. I love the beam, the projectile that floats across the lower landscape of the island. It flows so gosh darn well, and when Mech Islet plays, it's always a mega hype session to me. I love the start of Mech Islet. When it starts, I'm just dancing all over the gosh darn place. Lots of people were saying inside my Blizzard reaction when I dance, I'm just like, this is what I'm like all the time, baby. I'm not even exaggerating at all. I do like dancing, so I don't, maybe, that were a lot of complications or whatever. But I do like dancing, and I thought this island was just a mega beat dance session. And you know what, Mech Islet, it doesn't get as much love, I don't think, as the rest of the islands, but I think it is really cool as well. And then moving on to Bogle Woogly, we have June 25th where Bogle came. Bogle just showed to me once more wow, these are experimentative little guys. This one just went fully crazy. It's like they had a gas head, and then when it would play its instrument, its eyes would go cross-eyed, and it felt so gosh darn weird and cool. And I feel like this plays homage towards the fact that these are prototype monsters, and they are supposed to be the beginning of what monster experimentation might have looked like when the Zarawi and the Colossals were making out the original monsters. I think this is the perfect example of that so far out of all of the primordials, just because of how weird it is. It feels like it's ill put together, and it definitely comes across as such. And the instrument too, I think it's just a crazy guy, this one, and it definitely captivates upon that crazy and crazy energy, especially as you go into that mech islet song. And then June 25th, we also got Rare Squat. Oh my god, the monster handlers love telling me that this was based on Onion Day. I'm like, this could not be any more obvious, guys. When I went over, that's what they were like. I was like, guys, this is obvious. I was it was so gosh darn cool to see a weird design. I mean, when they do weird things like this, it just makes you go, this is my sea monsters. We also got the 4 sky painting costumes. I love Gobs. I like Suza's. Just felt like we were going for a party here, guys. Love it. Moving on to July, we have on July 2nd, Rare Bloat. Looking like a goblin this time around. I loved how it was this darker theme, and then that played into the colors as well. They harnessed on top of itself. It felt like with this, they were just going into that evil vibe behind a monster and playing into that. I feel like the villainous horror side, we saw a lot of that this year inside of My Sea Monsters, and I hope we can continue to see more, because I feel like there's still so much more they can do with that concept that is really exciting. I think this one, goblin-like as well, it felt very ill-fitted towards either one of the islands it was honestly on, to be honest. And I love that when they feel like they have the ability to go against and make whatever kind of creation they can, because that's just the beauty of variants in general too, especially with the ones that you look at like the epic wobblins. It's just, wow, how did they fit there? But they do, because they are cool. And then on July 2nd, we had Rare Larvalus, and don't look too far deep into this one. I thought it was quite cute. I thought, why the feathers? But then you look a little bit deeper and you go, oh, this one, it's got made out of a skeleton body, and it's no nasal hairs, and my god, it's a creepy fella. Moving on to July 9th. This, wow, see what I mean, y'all? I'm saying the epics changed this year. Epic, yeah. When they jump up and down and they make their pose, this was an unreal moment to discover. Yeah, it's by far the community's fan favorite mythical, and wow, did they manage to pull it off for the epic. This one, as it was moving around and making all the different poses, it was amazing how different they managed to make this. And this is what I mean, y'all. The puppetry idea was already so amazing, and to see that go even more forward with the animations, doing something different. This is why I finally started to click inside of my brain. Oh, these are cooler just because of the animations, and this is what is making this feel so extraordinary. The epic, yeah, is something just amazing inside of the game. It has so much personality behind it. It's not just a puppetry master, it's also a mime artist as it moves about and makes its animations. It having such a huge reference space to pull itself up on, and then also the animations backing that up with even more excellency just push this into outstanding territory for me, and a monster that you simply cannot pass upon. This is one to go in the history books. And then in July 9th, we had Epic Inside. I believe this is based on Jurassic Park, if I'm not mistaken. A dinosaur too there, almost bird-like as well. Very cool, as we know it. And Sizor is, of course, a dinosaur. Then moving on to July 9th, we got the Deconstructor inside of Dawn of Fire. And what a weird time this was. Now, Dawn of Fire, this is another structure we'd not seen for so long, so to see him come back was an amazing moment. But this Deconstructor, it produced some essences, these items that had no purpose yet, and we were left for months wondering, what is this for? So it was a weird moment for sure, but it was a much welcome thing to see it come back at all. It also served a different purpose in terms of the fact that we were thinking maybe it will have a greater purpose in just being able to deconstruct items, but but no, its main purpose is the essences that are required for it, which was quite a weird twist and turn of events. And then moving on to July 9th, we got 5 summer song costumes. We got the Parasol Fung Prey one. That's the main one you take away from that, my dearies. Lots of different ones there as well. We also had on July 10th, I've got to be honest, I was looking at these, so we're putting an image together. I'm like, I cannot remember these. And it's because I didn't even discover or get them, I don't think. So that much happening that time. But no, these came out on July 10th, and there was, this is one that I want to point out, because I didn't even remember these, okay? This is what I have to point out, because I did not even discover this. On camera, there is a Newt costume. There is a reference to the Newt meme with Clamble. I need that, right? I do not care. I hope that costume is available, because I think it will be over the Festival of the Game. So fingers crossed, guys, because I need that. I will literally just dedicate a whole thing towards it, because I need that. That is one of my favorite memes. Along with Toothless. I love Toothless. I'll put a video on screen right now. I have a Toothless plushie. You guys know I love the Toothless meme, but I also love the new meme. And there is a costume dedicated towards it. I need. Anyway, when that comes back, you will know about it. Moving on to July 16th, we have the Monster Summer Camp beginning. Now, there was lots of different contests throughout the year that I haven't put on this timeline because there was so many. So I'm going to bring them up now. So we had the Monster Summer Camp event, whereby if you referred players into the game, there would be prizes given out to inside of this event. We also had inside of the year the perplexed lore concepts, where people submitted lore entries and then eventually an animation came about. We had the costume contest, where people submitted fan-made costumes that would eventually get into the game as well. There was lots of different ones throughout the year, and I love embracing our community in different ways. But mainly from this event, there was a costume that emerged as one of the rewards. So we'll have to get to that in a minute. On July 23rd, we had an Ocarina. Oh, that was a little ocarina noise. I find them so cute. We had a full-on trailer dedicated towards Ocarina with 3D animation, which has never been seen before for MSM. The MSM team, just for some reason, put so gosh darn much work into a fully made 3D trailer made by an animation studio with Frumbins. It was an amazing moment. I adore seeing my monsters come to life in trailers and animations, and this was something else. I wanted this and more. This is what a My Sea Monsters animated series should be, and I fell in love with the fact that Ocarina was revealed inside of this. Ocarina inside of the Bone Island song, just like to our list, they add so much inside of the main verse inside of the song that the song builds up towards. That's why I love Owlesk. It's so quirky. Oh, I didn't even bring up that bass sound inside of it. The bass is my favorite. Oh, I forgot to mention the bass is my favorite instrument. So that's also another reason why I love Owlesk so much. And that's also why in my full songs I have to remember MPG. Remember, don't have the bass volume be too loud. I want to always play it louder. But I find it so awesome, the instrument behind Owlesk too, and as well Ocarina, the way it changes to Ocarina and becomes so different. I love discovering the elements behind the paranormals. It was such a fun experience to encounter Ruin, for example, and Hoax. They are each such different elements, and it makes me truly think now, what other elements could end up coming to the game, and could they embody such different traits? Ooh, so exciting to think of what other classes we could get as well. Oh, and then moving on to July 28th, now to the 31st, we have me going to the MSM studio. Now, I do include the odd 1 or 2 things related to me in the year in review, and this is one of them. I don't want to make it about me, but I loved the experience of going to the Mighty Monsters studio. I've not even shared yet all of my footage that I have from the studio. I'm taking my time to make sure that I can edit them to the best that I know that they can be, because I know how special this moment means to me, and I just want all of you guys to feel that as well. So I'm putting a lot of work into the editing behind these and doing it in my free time in between updates and whatnot when I can. But it meant so much to me, the chance to go and meet all of the monster handlers. I never could have experienced such a heartwarming moment inside. I envisioned this as a kid. I mean, it's obviously is a Mighty Monsters mega fan, and it's a dream. You never think that it would come true. And I think it stands, the most important thing that I want you to take away from my trip is the fact if you dream something and you work really hard, then there is a chance that things can happen, because the world, if you are kind to it, it gives you back kindness in such ways that you truly can't fathom at times, but it's so special and heartwarming, and sometimes you think, how on earth did I even manage to get to this wonderful, heartwarming place with such a wonderful community and people around me, and forming such a tremendous family of sorts as well. It felt so wholesome. I mean, I look back on my trip with such a whole heart. I think back to the time, I mean, I was absolutely flabbergasted, whereby I walked into the room and they were all there waiting for me. I mean, I would never have expected them to go out there and do such an amazing feat, especially for me, and then to see all of the warm feedback that behind my channel and how much it meant to them, going around signing things for people and just saying how much the game means to me. It meant a lot. I mean, this is my life, and getting to share a part of that and see what it means to certain people always means so gosh darn much to me. It's such an amazing experience getting to do what I do, and seeing the ways that it can impact other people is so important, but then also to go even further than that and to do something I have dreamt about all of my life just meant so gosh darn much to me. I think back upon my trip, and there's things I've still not been able to reveal yet, of course. The one that you all know about that was announced, I can't say anything more about that, obviously, but I'm excited to be able to say whatever that might be. I'm excited to share more from my trip, and also just the ones that I have shared, going back to the fan-made art, seeing the monster handlers draw fan-made monsters. I knew when I went there that I wanted to captivate upon the handlers that perhaps aren't seen quite as often, so I paid particular attention to that. I didn't even get any time with Monster Handler Matt. That is not something that I've shared, but I didn't get time with them alone because I chose in my time, I prioritized the people who aren't on camera quite as much. I said, please let me sit with the voice actors, please let me sit with the composers. I want to share the amount of work that goes into this game, and the people who want to come forward, please let me speak with them, because it means so gosh darn much to me, and these people are absolutely amazing at what they do. In my time in the studio, I did so many things that you are yet to see, and things like the animation microphone bit where I got to voice over the perplexed lore contest winner. I got to do so much while I was there. It was a jam-packed few days, and as well they incorporated dinners and time with the monster handlers, getting to know them. It was an amazing experience, and again, what you take away from these things is dreams can come true. It's not just a saying all, and I want you to believe it too, because I want all of you to be happy as well. That's why I do what I do. So if I can sit here and I can say I've achieved my dream, and I've achieved one of my dreams, and I want all of you to as well. I want you to take away from that happiness is something all of you guys can achieve. And I often get comments like, oh, MPG, you were so happy, I wish I could be happy too. And I want you to know all of you can be happy, and I believe in you. You might be going through hard times, it might be tough, but there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. There is something waiting for you all. You are all very special to me, and you are all also very special in yourselves. So keep that in mind, everyone. I didn't mean to get so emotional. And then moving on July 5th, we got Rare Pecking. Rare Pecking, yes. I got to reveal Rare Pecking while I was there, which is an amazing moment. I remember on camera I was saying, please let me reveal Rare Pecking. Then I wasn't just saying that, I was saying to the monsters, please let me reveal Rare Pecking. I mean, I couldn't exactly go over to them and say on a message, please let me reveal it. So it was my way of doing it a bit discreetly, but it's a joke, but not actually. Anyway, I trolled all of y'all quite badly. Anyway, Rare Pecking, I love the insects on them. The different critters on the back of them are absolutely adorable. I love how just fun it looks. I love this so much. It's another monster of the year that I just adore. I just can't say how much I love. I'm so happy that I got so many favorites this year. It meant a lot to me, and I'm having emotional. I'm having an emotional time here going through this year in review. Sorry, it's just, you all mean a lot to me, and I get so much joy from this. I'm really grateful. And then on August 6th, we have on Epic August 6th. Okay, MPG breakup. On August 6th, we had Epic by Sinners. This one, the surprise from this fella was absolutely extraordinary. You was expecting nothing. You think, oh, it's such a cute little guy. It almost looks like the workshop and that kind of a vibe. And then you look a little bit deeper and it starts to play. You see a massive gosh darn eye in his mouth, and it's whoa. You wouldn't expect that even in a million years. The way that this was drawn to was so beautiful and pretty. It felt like a dragon. It's like a fantasy vibe behind it. Again, a showcase of where variants can go and how awesome they can be. And then on August 6th, we had Epic Timpa. Now, Epic Timpa reminds me of the mechanical mine shaft, which is Ux's fan-made island. It's the mechanical vibe behind it, this idea of almost like a workshop. I know that isn't the best comparison because of Ethereal Workshop, but the blueprints, this is exactly what I envision when I think of Wublin and Wubox's component in it, because he made the Wublins, and I love this. Moving on to Rare Kahoot, we had them being based on an owl, which is very fitting because with it going like that, it sounds like an owl already with its wings. I thought this should have been in the Owlesque family, and I'm still waiting for that to happen. Then on August 6th, we also got 4 Mind Boggle costumes. Now, Mind Boggle costumes are the ones that I always look forward to, because when I see them, I know that they are going to be based on different fairy tales. And in the case of Gloptic and Fairmind, Little Red Riding Hood, it feels like there was so much in Goldilocks as well on here. There's always a reference or two to be made out from these, which I always appreciate. And then moving on to August 12th, we had the Monster Summon Camp ending, which was where people were referring them to. And we had then on that day the Thumpies, Sketchy, and Beehawk costume. We also had Talker get costume, just randomly get some summer pants. we've had that costume be available for so long, and then all of a sudden they were like, hey, let's put some pants on this guy. I'm all here for it as well. Now, Sketchy and Beehawk is a fan-made Thumpy. Well, if I say fan-made, but the artist drew it just for a live stream, and it was awesome to see it be canonized inside of the game. And then Sketchy is an Easter egg that is found within the Thumpies app as well. It was nice to see these finally make their way into the main game, as honestly those are the only Thumpies that we do not have inside of the costume. So now we have them all. Whoa! Then on August 13th, we had Rare Periscope. Rare Periscope is very insectoid. It's very dark, and menacing. I like the vibe that is played into with that one. Then on August 13th, we got Dawn of Fire Anglo. Anglo genuinely blew me away. I thought every single mythical is going in that ending, and I cannot not have Anglo there. That would just not work out. And then it came along and it did something that I thought that's the best solution that it could do, but it did it even better, which just comes to show how amazing that inverse in Dawn of Fire is of the continent. I think when Anglo came in and it did that bass track just like what it does on Mythical, they understood the comparison of the Mythical Island ending and the continent ending. Those two are so similar in the regard to the kind of creation of feeling that they feel and this almost transcendent feeling. I think they honed into that and they just let the bass play, and that was perfect for Anglo. It's the perfect sound that could have happened for it. I'm glad that the other sounds didn't happen. I feel like when you've got quite a full song akin to the continent, it might have made it quite a bit too rambunctious at certain parts, so it's nice to see them lay it a little bit back here. I love Anglo 2 coming along, as we also had the lore for so long that Anglo hit the continent continent, and of course, the first lore reveal that the mythicals were around on the continent at all. So we all, in a sense, have Anglo to thank for the mythicals coming along at all to Dawn of Fire. So shout out to you, little mister. And then on August 30th, we have the 13th anniversary month kickoff, which featured the rare ethereals and also these other minor updates as well. And I was featured at the end, whereby I announced that something is coming. Now, this was quite an odd time, I think, behind the game, because as you guys know, I had quite conflicted feelings about this, because when anniversary month comes along, you guys know you are always excited, you're thinking what's going to come, and I didn't feel like we got that right now. We had to wait till later, but as we didn't know later there was just going to be so gosh darn much, it created at the time a bit of disappointment, and I did express that, of course, as I'm always quite honest in my feelings and thoughts, but we just had to wait, and that's just the true fact behind this show. I think they should have saved the rare workshoppers and let us discover them each week, but hey ho, that's just how it went, y'all. And of course, there's lots of exciting things coming, because the biggest thing in there is the fact that the ending, what could that mean? Because MPG is there, yes. and then on September 3rd, moving on to September now, we have Rare Meat Kit, based on a dragon, quite a cool fella. I love the mechanics that they integrated towards the rare ethereal workshoppers. The workshoppers, I was quite worried because the ethereals are so hard, but they introduced such great mechanics behind the workshoppers that make them feel possible and achievable, and you can work towards it as well, which is an interesting tactic, as when they're available, you can then continue to work on them when they're later available. You don't have to get them all at once, like you have to breed it when it's available. You can work towards it gradually, which I find to be quite a great mechanic, honestly. I really did appreciate the mechanics that they put in place for the rare workshoppers. It felt very achievable and great, and I'm so gosh darn glad they did. Then on September 3rd, we also got the Friends update. Now, this is another controversial thing behind the beginning of the month. The Friends update, unfortunately, I found that I honestly was quite saddened by it. The Friend update adds a limit towards friends that you have. Now, I have contacted the monster handlers, and they have confirmed they cannot retrieve these friends who were removed. So I lost all of my childhood friends. I lost all of my favorite friends who I've made throughout the years. It was a lot, and I'm sure you guys can see why I was upset at the time. There was a lot of uncertainty. I think what didn't help at the time, I think we would have been okay. I just think what didn't help was the fact that this just put a big rock almost on the whole thing. It was like, oh my god, this is just not that great. I'm not having a great time with this. I can't add any of you guys now. I mean, the reason why this was added in the first place is because creators like me, maybe one or two or three people in the world, they have an issue where they can't load into their game because they have that many friends. And I've always said to the monster handlers, and I will put this on the screen, don't just update the game just because I know it's only me and I don't want to affect all of these other players. And I said, just remove my friends when you need to. I always said that. And it just didn't quite work out. I think there was lots of good from this. There was the ability to add your favorite monsters and islands. But when there is such a big obstacle like this, I feel like your mind is almost drawn to that. So I do want to escape from that and go, there was lots of wonderful things inside of this. The monikers, being able to display your own message tag. I just feel like it lets you personalize your game a lot more and feel a lot more in control, which is a wonderful feature. Then moving on to September 3rd, we had the Bill and Jamboree costumes. Now, Bill is one that everyone, I'm sure, has wanted from time to time. So seeing that in a costume was amazingly cool too. Then on September 3rd, we had the My Singing Monsters 13th anniversary, big anniversary there again. And then on September 5th, we had the Ethereal Workshop Times CG5 song. This was really cool. They got Landon on and he voiced these brand new Bamiba flakes, and they were scattered all throughout the song. Basically, if you ever at any point in your life wanted more Bamiba, just go into this song right here and you will see the amazingness that Bamiba is. Because I feel like this is one of the coolest remixes I have ever heard. Maybe even is behind an MSM song. This is way better than Breakout of the Box to me, because man, it just did everything that I could properly ever want. Seeing the 3D models behind some of the ethereal workshoppers do was an amazing moment. And then on September 10th, we got Rare Yurik, who interestingly was based off Gadzooks as well. Rare Gadzooks, if we bring them on screen as well. Now, Yurik and Gadzooks are part of the same monster family, so I love that they drew into that with the rares there. Very cute too. And then on September 10th, we had the single and double element islet rare ethereals come alongside them with unique animations, which was really cool. Oh my God, that was September 13th. Yeah, we had the scrap Fire Islands. Oh, do not right now. We had been waiting for these for years. So basically, before the Magical Islands came, there were these Fire Islands that the Magical Islands were then made from. We've never heard them ever. And the way we got to hear them here was one of the biggest MSM events I have ever seen. Seeing it with the monsters that were meant to be on each one was extraordinary. And the biggest reveal of all, my God, there was so many cool moments inside of this. You just need to go and listen to the songs right now. But the best part to me was just discovering the whole Amber Island song is basically based on Fire Bastion. The melody of Waddle is the song. I was floored at that. I was like, that is the most catchiest part behind Amber Island, and it was that. There's no wonder people make the Bone Island its similarity sounds. I've been doing that. I did that first. I remember that. I'm not kidding. I did that first. I was the first creator to do that. And I remember everyone saying, oh, these are very similar. I'm like, yeah, they are similar. And then they're the same. And I'm like, wah! That was a crazy moment. I loved Fire Park too. Oh, the pom-pom, the Cypop and pom-pom and the jewel. Oh my God. I'm geeking out right now. Fire Fantasia too. Seeing where maybe the Fire Expansion monsters might have slotted in there, and it was an amazing experience. I'm so gosh darn glad we got these revealed, because they mean so much to us as a community, and so good. Now, September 17th, we got Rare Enchantment, the final Rare Magical. I think this is why this month felt a bit off to me, because again, we've been building up the Rare Magicals for years, and then for this to be the ending, it felt very much like a recolor to me. It didn't feel like the grand conclusion to the Rare Magicals, which I've been anticipating. I can remember this time just being a bit, oh, I'm not sure what's happening here, and that's why I almost want to just keep going forward. So on September 17th, we then got Rare Gadzooks. Moving on. Then we got September 17th, the drum player tune-up costume. Quick, keep moving, because this is the good stuff. Thank God. Oh, that was not the anniversary month. Anyway, now it's the anniversary. Especially because October is the best month, y'all. Did I mention it in the Mighty Monsters? Maybe one of the best months of the whole franchise's history. Let's keep on going again. September 23rd, we had the Dawn of Fire 10th anniversary. Which I was thinking, oh no, where is it? Wait, are we getting anything? And then move on. September 23rd, same day as anniversary. What in the world happened? I was wandering around what's coming and wondering whether anything's coming. Then we get Wonder Island. And I think, oh, a Dawn of Fire Island. Oh. A Dawn of Fire Island. You heard it right. Now, I am absolutely amazed we have anything for Dawn of Fire like this. This is the biggest momentous occasion for the game in, what, 8 years? This is the 10th anniversary update. Oh my God, does it deliver. I love the decorative landscape behind the island. They fully embrace the 3D theming. I feel like I'm so interested to learn what the lighthouse might behold. The monster handlers say that might be for something in the future, so what on earth could that tie into in a future update? It's going to be exciting to see. It definitely has a lot of similarities towards Seasonal Shanty, as everyone in the comments loves to point out, so I'm excited to see as well. Now, I want to also draw on to the next one, which is on the same day we got Dawn of Fire. Look at you, you're straight, stop boning. and Bazinga. I love them a lot. I'm actually surprised with how the song is forming so far, just because of the monsters we have on this island. I thought in my original theories I was saying, and I feel like this is going to still come true after this Wonder Island. I feel like we are going to move on from the item production and move on to Era 2, as I was theorizing. Go and watch my theories if you've not. But this is the perfect resolution for people who have been grinding away on Dawn of Fire, and I see who it is for. It is for the mega fans. And I'm astounded at seeing my beautiful, wonderful mythicals come inside of the Dawn of Fire style. So this was the beginning where the year started to go crazy. Or I feel like we'd been making very slow steps up to this point, and then all of a sudden Wonder Island came, and then everything just started going crazy from then. This is why I play Rising Monsters. This is why I love it. Love. And then moving on, we also had we can't move on just yet, can we? I need to point out how wonderful these are. Bazinga's never had an instrument for track like it. They're absolutely amazing. And that ain't even half of it. They had an extension coming up, didn't they, in a new verse? Then on September 23rd, we had the Dawn of Fire anniversary cake decoration. September 24th, Rare Blaret, very cute, do love. Then moving on to the best month now. There is no objection. It is the best month. We have October now. Oh, October, my God. Why are we celebrating anniversary after anniversary? Anyway, we had on October 1st, Rare Orgler. Very majestic and cool. It felt like Orgler just Orglering. And then October 1st, this is when everything changed. This is when everything got cool, yeah. Major Paranormal Carnival. This is a new wave island. Do you know how big this is? This has been missing from the game for a whole year. This is why the year just felt so slow, I think, and why I felt like towards the beginning, until this moment, I felt like until Wonder Island, we were going quite slow, and I couldn't put my head on as to why, because we were getting cool updates, and it's because we didn't have something that was gradually releasing. So all throughout the year, it felt like, even though we were getting almost the same, it felt like it was just variants and costumes and whatever. But then Carnival came, and Carnival, my wonderful Paranormal Carnival. You thought they'd done good with islet designs. This is where everything changed. They fully embraced that theme of not having that just an head anymore, and they made this island one of the best, no, in fact, I'm going to say the best island design I have ever seen. I am floored with the song and how they embraced it, and the class resulting in this penultimate take. It felt like it all came together so gosh darn well, and it is by far something that I'm just so excited about. The song is amazing, and the cast, the characters, I'm just so excited just to discover more. I love the theme behind hats, the structure hat, the castle hat, the critter hat. I like the carnival. I love it. And enough carnival love can't be given. I love everything about this. And everything. Just the song too. An amazing start behind the island for the first few monsters. I thought it was amazing. Moving on to October 1st, we also got, you cannot go on with this. I'm putting one monster on every tag. I need to talk about them all. We got BBNO, who came in and collabed on Scallyrags. This moment was absolutely amazing, I thought, because this was also the beginning again this year. I think of more things to come, of people collabing inside of the game and bringing their talent in. I mean, on a musical game, it's an amazing idea. I mean, why not? We have collabs in music. It's just what you want. Scallyrags 2, such an amazingly different design. I love the idea behind the paranormals that they each have a specific typing to, separate towards their element that we get to theorize about and think about and love, with Scallyrags being the rascal one, and then moving on to, we have October 1st, Dactyl, Performer Girl, who's the bombast paranormal. These tie-ins, and we'll just bring them up now. Germ, the side I call paranormal. They all have such individuality in their animations too, and characters. These are why I love My Singing Monsters, and I miss having original characters like this. Just like our workshop waves, I freaked out so immensely. I cannot tell you guys how much I just love Carnival. I just think about how much I love the end of this year, and it gets to me because it was absolutely amazing. Dactyl is absolutely amazing. The way their animations feel so energetic and expressive in a way unlike to any monster, I thought was absolutely amazing. You can really see how they've upped on the animations now. It feels almost like because they're doing it for the epics even more, is impacting the other monsters and making them feel even more cool. So they're playing into that and thinking, how can we do that with making the design itself? Which I think pays off immensely. Because you know, with Dactyl, for example, if they were just like that, it wouldn't be Dactyl. They've had to think about that animation while they were designing it, and I think they need to do more of that, because that's something I noticed this year. And then on October 1st, we also had Beauty Gem, little cute guy with shimmy shimmer, because they also came out on October 1st too. Gem, I adore their instrument. They add so much, and I think it's only the beginning of these hugely impactful instruments coming along, especially with the other paranormal. We got oh my god, I think that these are just amazing class of monsters. They feel so weird. I love the idea of them being based on outer space too. I mean, when I made my Mirror Sphereal back then, and I thought, oh my god, there could be a class of the Mirror Islands and the Normal Islands. Well, I can't believe I still theorized about that. I do not know where these spheres come from, but I could not have imagined the way it would end up being. They did everything in their power to make these cool. Giving them separate forms is such a great concept, and I hope they play around with more concepts like to this in the future. The day to night cycle. This was the year of paranormals to me, and I'm so gosh darn glad it was, because I could not imagine this year without them. They are exceptional. Shimmy is just a fun guy. They might not add the most contributive sounds, but these are the most quirky guys, like your Zers and Shimmers. I just think that they add so much just in terms of personality to the game. It's not all about the music, it's also about the animation, and it's also about these little small sounds, because they all contribute and add so much to the song as well. I mean, for example, you couldn't imagine the mythical island without the little strokes of Bazinga. Even though they might not feel quite as grandiose, they are very important in the grand scheme of things. We also got on October 1st, we got the breeding menu revamp. This was amazing. Now, this I did say while I was in the My Singing Monsters studio. I said, do not spoil me. You all know that anyway, but this was one thing that they wanted my opinion on, because they were thinking, oh no, what if fans don't like this? And when I went, this is marvelous. This is my life. This is my life resolved. This is what I have needed all along. And I think this is the most marvelous thing. It shows you the outcomes behind breeding and what you can end up getting. I don't understand how this wasn't there in the beginning. An actual menu to sort through and see what you are doing is just, it is delightful. It is amazing. This was put in beta too, and for a month before, whereby some players got it on Steam just while they were testing it. I just wanted this in straight away. I get it though, because breeding is the main mechanic behind My Singing Monsters, so obviously you can be quite reluctant. You've got to be careful with these things, haven't you, biases? And then we also had on October 1st, oh, this is the other important set of costumes I was on about, because we got the Creator Contest costume winners, and I had all each one of these. I didn't actually discover these on camera, and I've still not got them in my game. But I saw them, and I love them so much. I can't wait to discover them. I'm just gonna have to make shots and getting these costumes I didn't get, because there were that many costumes. I think there was about, I'm not even joking by the way, I think there was about at least over 100, maybe 150, 150 costumes. There was a lot of costumes this year. For that reason, I'm almost glad that they're slowing down a bit too towards the end of the year. You'll see that, because I think it's helping them focus on making these epic animations, and also helping with just having more original monsters in the game, which I think is where My Singing Monsters thrives. Oh my God, these were amazing set. I love Uxus. Shout out to Uxus. Shout out to Lyquad. Shout out to whoever made the Zert Pot. That is what we are at. Zert Pot, yeah. Now, what I will bring up is that I believe Pure Plays and its Legacy made some costumes as well. I think I didn't put those on for some reason. And then on October 15th, we had Epic Flumox. Epic Flumox was a well different design. Now, you see all, this is what I'm saying at the start of this video where we were saying the Epic Quad Fire Expansion Quads, they just started something exceptional and it makes me so excited for those Quins. My God, they changed so gosh darn much. They didn't even need unique animations, these guys, because the designs were so gosh darn cool. They would be way cooler with unique animation. Give me a unique animation. Anyway, moving on. Moving on to October 15th, we also got the Wubbox Boomer costume. Now, Wubbox hasn't ever really had that many costumes, and I think that what would be awesome is if they start to, maybe because they might be slowing down costumes a bit, focus them on monsters that feel special, like Quint, Wubbox, a Titan Soul, a Mythical, these classes that are one-off across the islands. I think those would be very impactful ones, especially Wubbox, the Epic Wubbox and Rare Wubbox too, when we eventually get to those. They are big costumes that feel big and fill in that space without needing to perhaps design tons and tons, which, so we can focus on maybe the other monsters for a while. I think that's their plan. I'm just saying these things, obviously, but I'm just guessing. But I think it would be cool to follow down that path too, because it makes each reveal feel big in a sense too. I think that this is a really cool idea, and I love this costume a lot. It feels so gosh darn cool. And the one that we got later is even gosh darn cooler. On October 15th. What? Can we please start with the awesome updates? Man, you're getting me freaking out right now. On Wonder Island, Adult Punkleton came out on October 15th as well. Now, this was an amazing moment because, as well, on October 15th, we got the Wanderer Island Bazinga-verse. Wanderer Island Bazinga is a thing of wonder, truly. I love how the song changed with this one. I mean, when Punkleton came, I thought, oh, where is it going to go? And I didn't for 1 second think it's going to add a whole new verse and Bazinga's gonna absolutely thrive. I mean, that was exceptional. And I'm losing my mind just thinking about it. I've adored Bazinga's part so much in this island. They've never had such an amazing contribution before, be such, well, the carrier behind a song. I think Punkleton too had so much behind that verse and a kind of rascally and rambunctiousness that I've never seen be captivated on in an island song before, and it gets me really excited behind the game. Then on October 22nd, we had Epic Bleatnik. This one was based on Trouble because it's supposed to be very architectural, like the fire element where Trouble's from. Very cutie and cool, architectural. Little Bleatnik. I love Bleatnik. Bleatnik, one of my favorites too. Oh, I got so much this year. And then October 29th, we got Minor Paranormal Carnival, which is very spooky. Oh, this is when I fell in love so much more with this island, because I just think about the future behind it. It gets me so excited. Oh, this island, wow. The mechanic behind being able to shift between both island counterparts was amazing. And I'm so sorry for not clicking that button in my original reaction. I miss out on something sometimes, okay? But I think it was an amazing idea having the song flip around, but be a different song entirely. It took that idea of the Mirror Island and it captivated on it even more and made it feel even more impactful, the fact that they have different sounds, but for a whole song this time. Instead of just on the Mirror Island having a different sound for the original Magical Paranormals, the whole island. And the island design itself, they felt so spooky. The Paranormals, I just can't wait. I want another class 2 dedicated towards this spookiness, but entirely spooky. I know that the Paranormals did it, but it just makes me feel so excited to see, oh, a grotesque, gross, horrifying monster, and I think the community really enjoys that, at least based on Shadow Isle as well. I think still incorporating that fun quirkiness though behind it is cool. I wonder if the Paranormals are as far as the monster handlers are willing to take this concept, but I hope not. I love my cute monsters. I will not, I would be lying if I don't say, you know, those are my favorite ones. But I also see what the community loves, and it is definitely this. So I'm excited to see the future of this and where it could go, especially for minor paranormal carnival as it is. I think this island is not quite as full of a song yet as the other version, so I'm hoping that the other monsters that come do fill it out and make it feel whole, because this is perhaps the most exciting part behind the carnival. Well, major carnival is it for me because I like my cute monsters, okay, but I think this is an awesome idea. I could not believe this island design when it came out. The idea of it being the other flip half of the island too, and you being able to see it on the opposite upside down part of the island, I felt was such a cool idea. They did so much with this island to make it feel whole, and really what really sold it, because on October 29th, we also got minor Scallyrags, Dactyl, and Germ, which are awesome. They have these terrifying backstories, and honestly, for that reason, maybe this is as far as we can take the horrifying idea. But they each had lore which I could not even imagine coming from My Singing Monsters. Dactyl breaking down and being injured, and Germ becoming this mutant and being so upset and sad, and I was just like, what in the world is going on here? And I'm loving Dactyl, Germ, Scallyrags. I think what makes this perfect for My Singing Monsters is the fact that you have the more, yes, ugly sometimes, but you have that kind of a setting alongside the horror. It's not like it's just horror. I can see how this works in both counterparts, because it feels good on both sides of the coin. Hey, on both sides of the carnival, you could say. I think Scallyrags, I liked the idea of them being a trio. There was so many theories around the time that could happen. I remember I did not even make a theory on Paranormal Carnival or even this, because I thought they're going to take so long after Dusty Potential, and people were saying, why does MPG think it's going to take longer? I was like, guys, we were waiting ages. I just this year blew me away. Okay. I loved it. Oh, it felt like the end of the year was what blew me away. The end of the year was amazing. And then moving on now onto October 29th, we had Epic Flame Squeak. They changed where the eyes, ears, nose, toes were because they needed to, so the animations could be different, and it paid off so gosh darn well. The idea of draws coming out on this, just again playing into those unique animations so well, made it feel so extravagant and cool. Then on October 29th, we had Epic Clackula, which was our first ever Epic Magical. This one suited Nexus so gosh darn much. And then also the one we got later, the Epic Magical, Epic Ruba, that suited it as well. It makes me wonder what's happening, and I like it a lot. Man, it's one of those unique animations. I'm sorry, I still won't let it go. It's because I really do feel like it adds a lot, you know? But you know what? These designs are coming fast and they're coming strong. And then on October 29th, we also got continuing the trend of just getting these special costumes. We got Ocarina and Gnolls with their amazing Beat Hereafter costumes. The Beat Hereafter costumes are actually my favorite seasonal event costumes, with the cute Echidna one. It feels like they always do so well with them for some reason. I feel like they know the event so well because the monster handlers went and visited, I believe, and made sure they were doing the event properly, and I feel like they have a good ground upon which to build upon off of for the costumes, and I think that's why these costumes in particular thrive, because it's not, they have such an in-depth understanding behind the event, I feel. Ocarina too, I mean, the different coloring behind it, even the pads from behind that you can't quite see on the image here, it's just amazing. Then on October 29th, we had, this is something I wanted to pay homage to, because I just wanted to make sure that we pointed this out. We had the mechanics behind Paranormal Carnival. That's got cut off here, but I did want to point that out. The mechanics behind Carnival, I love that we have breeding again. The breeding, and also the fact that they managed to pull off something new with the centrifuge and getting new minor variants alongside that. I love that breeding returned. Breeding has been needed for so long, and I want to point that out. We've had so much hard endgame content. It feels nice to go back in time rather than these epics and epic bubblings and harder and islets and shards this, and this is going back to what My Singing Monsters is at its core, and I want to see more of an even spread of content, hopefully, in the future. I think that would be great. I think this is what I think kids are going to, you know, be able to get into, and I just think of myself as a kid. Obviously, me as a kid, I would have everything. Maybe you guys do too watching this, but I think some people, they're just coming to the game right, and they're not going to get an epic or the hardest thing, and I just think we need to have some things for everyone. So this was a great stepping stone, I think, for that. Now, in terms of the wild cards, they just completely changed their entire game. So I said how they were harder, but now all of a sudden with wild cards, you have the fact that it's possible now to get ethereal epic warbox, epic wobblins, awaken these monsters, because you can use wild cards instead of getting the eggs inside of the monsters. Now, in particular for a rare wobblin, an epic warbox, it's going to make them actually achievable now on Elder Celestial and Adult Celestial, in particular with the rare and epic wobblins and the ethereal epic warbox. Those are the ones that I'm talking about. The content we've had in the past year or so, this is where it became possible, and I'm so glad they did this because it changed the game. And My Singing Monsters has always been possible to get these content updates, and I feel like they listened and they made this currency available so widespread now, and I'm just so grateful behind it. I truly think this was a game changer, and it makes me just love My Singing Monsters so gosh darn much. Moving on to November now. That was the best month ever, y'all. November 6th, we got Noggin Playground Game Maker costume, which changes different poses in reference to Playground, because then on November 18th, oh, we've got me in the trailer there, the My Singing Monsters Playground crossplay was available. So now you can play it on Switch and Steam simultaneously with your friends. So someone can play on Switch and someone can play on your PC, which is pretty cool. I really enjoyed doing that trailer too while I was there. Then on November 19th, we had a Now It Becomes a Monster lore animation. So the Perplexed Plore contest winner, they managed to get a whole animation dedicated towards their poem almost that they wrote. I want to say poem because it felt like it while I was reading. It was so beautifully well written. I was outstanded by the person who made it. When I was voicing that, I had so much fun. I felt like I was reading a storybook, and I certainly played into that, making sure that it felt like almost Dr. Zeus. The lore, though, let's talk about that. The Dipsters getting lore in relation to the Natural Titans was so outstanding, because the Dipsters and, well, especially the Natural Titans, we don't have any lore for them. So to finally have anything was outstanding, and the exceptional artwork by Chris Elliott inside of that trailer made me enthralled, and it is one of my favorite videos ever. Not because I voiced it, I'm on about because of the art, because of the lore, because of the fan contribution, the fact that this could mean something else. I think that this was just an outstanding moment for the community, and I hope that they bring me back to voicing, because I love my lore, and I just think this is one of the coolest things ever. And I'm gonna shout out the person on screen right now, because they made a reaction, the person who made this, and I thought it was just so amazing to see their reaction to their lore coming to life. I mean, this is something that you could only dream of. I think it's amazing, the fan interaction this year. It's only gotten better, and it's gonna get better too. So it's exciting, as I'm sure. And then on November 19th, we had Epic Candelabra. This is our first Epic Quint. Oh God, based on the fire. It was just so cool. I could not believe it. It reminds me of the Pokemon Chandelure. It was so jubilant and graceful. I loved the animation too, and seeing the fire come to life so robustly. It was so powerful, the animations. And then moving on to November 19th, we also got Rare Nightmare that day. We were thinking it's going to be based on FNAF. No, it's based on where the wild things are. And I love that ever so dearly. I read that book so gosh darn much. It's going to frighten me off to death. Oh God. And then on November 19th, we also got, alongside the Now It Becomes a Monster trailer, we got the ability to wake up the Titans on the islands, because their eyes opened in the trailer, so they decided to just put them in game. This is something I just couldn't ever imagine happening, and it brought about this beauty towards those designs that I never thought we'd ever see any updates towards, and made them feel so outstanding. I look at them now and they feel so much more beautiful, and it's nice that they play a contributive part towards the Colossals waking up too. And I mean, the Titans have been with the Titan Soul, so it's nice to have that as well. And then on November 26th, we got Epic Nerve, based on Kaju with their slippery fins there. I like, of course, the paying attention to the Conatruna lore there again, and the Cave Crystal Teleporter. Then moving on to December. I found it really hard to say my best month this year. I said October because I needed Wave Island, but this came in second. Moving on. Oh my god. How do we... December. Look, it all came on one day in December. That was just outstanding. What on earth was going on? Anyway, moving on December 10th, I feel like this was a revival of My Singing Monsters towards the end of the year, because it just felt like everything what we love about the game just came in. And I think this is the example of that perfectly. So December 10th, Shadow Islet. Shadow Islet is the most catchiest song perhaps in the whole game. It takes such liberties amongst it in being able to slow down the song and change the whole format behind a song entirely. It has tracks that don't even play throughout the whole verse. It does things that no other island ever has in My Singing Monsters, and it does it, and it does them perfectly. I think they didn't just choose to do these, they did them because the song had to have these. And I am floored with the way this island came together. I think this shows just how amazing My Singing Monsters can be when it embraces a horror, darker theme. I know I've talked about that a lot, but it's something that fans have been so excited about, and I feel like I understand why after seeing all of this year's content, because it truly was a darker year. It had darker classes with the paranormal miners, and then you also had the Shadow Islet, which, I mean, this is the penultimate island behind a darker theme, isn't it? You had, oh my god, the coolest animations on here. You had, I don't even know where to begin. Every monster had such an amazing contribution behind this island. I think back towards Blarat, of course, the cutest animations ever, where they just sit down in between their sound, because these monsters, they just play when they need to. They don't feel the need to fill out a whole verse. They just do whatever the song needs. I mean, Workshop is my favourite My Singing Monsters island just because of my experiences with it. But I have to admit, this is one of the catchiest songs as well. It is up there with Workshop. Those two islands just do something else inside of the game that is amazing. And honestly, it did feel like a My Singing Monsters revival. It felt like we went to what the game is all about here, and I'm all for it. The way this island was drawn, so beautiful again. I cannot believe. I can't. And then on December 10th, we had Fandle. Oh, God. Wow. I mean, we knew, everyone was saying it's going to be a clapper. I thought, oh my God, there's no way. But the way it adds to the song, I'm just floored. I would never expect a clapping monster to be able to contribute so much towards a song, and then also the addition towards the sounds, because the primordials like to be quite complex with their sounds, right? Because they're supposed to be prototypes. But the way it has the cold storm swirls as it through its sounds, it's so majestic. It fits that theme perfectly, and it's an adorable design. I love their poofy cloud hands too. Such liberties taken with these primordial designs that makes them exceptional. And then, oh god, what a day! And then, look, I'm still trying to recover. Then on December 10th, oh my god, oh lordy, hurdy, wordy. I can't even get a word. Oh my god, wow. This added the hurdy-gurdy instrument towards Carnival, and I mean major paranormal Carnival. What an outstanding contribution that made. It was an absolutely ambitious, powerful instrument that added so much behind the song and gave it that carnival feel so much diddly more. I loved the idea of the critters floating around inside it. Even you know what I'm gonna say, even the idea of the darker one, where one of them seems to have left the world. I think that the horror side being captivated on so well and being so creepy is definitely one of the designs that changes the most. It gets me so excited thinking, ooh, what if more designs change as much as this? This is so cool. It makes me love Paranormal Carnival, and this is where I'm at. And the eyes and the design, it reminds me of Meebs quite a bit. I feel like Workshop is one of the best eras behind the game, but all in all, it's just such a different design. The designers got so creative this year with every single thing they could possibly get their hands on, and it makes me want to give them so many original monsters after seeing this. I get so excited behind the idea of them and where we're going to go from here. There's a lot coming next year, I think, all. This is only the beginning. Oh god. Oh no. Also, oh my god, I thought, I'm losing my brain. Look, I could not process anything, right? I remember, oh god, December 10th, we also got Blizzard. Indeed. This is the first legendary monster in 12 years, I think. This is the most, well, since the Sugar Fam, we had the Wordos in between, maybe because of that 8 year, but still, that's a tremendous amount of time. I mean, 8 years, and we got, oh god, BBNO coming back. This it felt so gosh darn cool. The animators and designers seem to have so much fun with this. You can tell they love BBNO, and I hope they get to work with more people that they enjoy. I think that's actually the most important thing with these legendary monsters, and I'm not just saying that. I just think that the people who make it should just have fun, because I feel like I could see that fun with this monster, because it was just vibing and doing the whole pose and everything. I hope with the future legendaries, they choose ones that they want to choose and they are excited about. Because I think that's actually the most important thing to being able to prevail in terms of the creativity. I adore BBNO's Scallyrags and Blizzard. I mean, I wouldn't have expected them getting their own legendary, but I think it's so amazing. And it gets me so excited thinking about the future too. I mean, this monster, it just blew up. This was the one this is the most popular monster of the year, by the way, in terms of what blew up or whatever. And I just think a musical collab in a game about music is just the most perfect thing ever. And that's what legendaries should center themselves around, which I'm so excited now to see the future behind this too. The little pants too. This is so adorable. I mean, when I was discovering this guy, I was just having the most fun ever because it's framed like that. So cool. And then on oh my god, I keep forgetting about everything that came this day because there was just so much. We got Epic Giga. Now this is the epic of the year, the whole year. I'm astounded by the animations behind this and the design. They made the silhouette very similar, but they chose the body to be framed so differently. The way it's now plush-like. It took the old Epic thing and it showed us what a variant can be. I mean, I'm just still shocked behind this. The eye is supposed to be a nose and it being shut the whole time. It's so enthralling. I can't. The head twisting and turning and I mean, what was going on this day? And then December 10th. You see, I'm telling y'all, anniversary month, it didn't happen this year. It just happened all throughout the end of the year. I'm like, October, December. Oh my god. Wonder Island Adult Yule. Adult Yule, I felt like we had a very monotone voice. I'm not gonna lie. Felt like it's very ho, 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 ho. You know, it didn't really have much of a melody behind it, but they added the percussion that was needed. The percussion is what we really needed, because this is the only percussion monster that's going to be coming to Wonder Island. So I'm so gosh darn grateful that they added that percussion. And let me just say, this Steam Yule in the Dawn of Fire art style too, is such a treat. Punkleton, they draw them so well. They put so much effort into these designs, and it is truly what I look forward to so much. It might be redesigning it in another style, but the style is so different and they draw it so well. It gets me so excited. Well done. And then on December 10th, we also got some Yule costumes with rare Yules. With rare Yule's mistletoe. I mean, oh God, who's going under the mistletoe this year? Who knows? And then on December 10th, we had Wobox's Enginger earring costume. This was an amazing pun, and this just, wow. I mean, I thought the Spootical one was cool. This is a gingerbread man Wobox. Wow. They knew that Wobox was the fan favorite, and they did what needed to be done. This is an amazing design. I'm so astounded by the idea of these bigger monsters getting costumes. It's so exciting. And then on December 11th, we got the Shadow Islet double rare ethereals come in with the singles as well. Then on December 17th, we got Epic Crunchy. Epic Crunchy, based on a Kraken, I do believe. Kraken, it's a very awesome design. I expected it to be based on Squidward a little bit more. So it was quite surprising to me that it wasn't, but it's just such an amazing design. I have to shout how amazing it is. I love I just love my ski monsters. And then on December 17th, we have Epic Ruba. Epic Ruba, very ancient, as this almost aqua ocean feel behind them. Perfect for meditational Ruba, which we saw with rare Ruba as well. Then on December 18th, we have Shadow Islet triple rare ethereals, which came to the island. And then moving on to now our fan-mades. Now, I've included some fan-mades this year, but when I was making this timeline, it made me realize I've not really reacted as much to fan-made content this year. Maybe there's not been as much, or maybe it's just me not reacting to it. I'm not entirely sure. But half of this timeline is stuff I've not even reacted to, so I feel like that tells me what the case is. And then moving on to February 15th onward, because these came for quite a few months, we have the Ethereal Constellation Islands. These were an amazing set of islands made by the Defork team. I had so much fun reacting to these. Mech Constellation is something else, and I am honored to voice Pentumpra on these Constellation Islands too. I think they are some of the most catchy fan-made songs islands I've ever heard, and these being based around the ethereals, of course, as well. One of the fans' favorite classes is absolutely amazing. I mean, the Amoeba tracks too on Poison and Crystal were outstanding. I felt like every single time I was interested to hear what Amoeba would do, because they had a part inside of the island song that just seemed to captivate the whole thing. So it was quite unreal. I love these. Moving on to March 2nd onward, we got the PlasmaMSM's fan-made islets. These were what showed me and got me excited mainly for Shadow and Crystal islets. Crystal Islet it's been common throughout every single Islet's fan-mades that I've listened to. It's always been Crystal Islet that has been my favourite. And Shadow Islet as too was just extraordinary. That was absolutely the second one that when I heard this, I thought, my God, what could this island be? This has to be cooler than the maid one. The maid one just blew out of the park, and I was like, wow, okay. This was an amazing set of islets. I still strongly suggest you go and listen to these, because these are next level. If you love your MSM, you will love these. Moving on to June 8th. This is something I've not actually checked out yet, but I put it here because everyone's been asking me to check it out. The Ghostympa Nexus expansion. Lots of people have told me to check this out, so I absolutely eventually will. I'm excited to, though. I've heard that it has, well, looking at this thumbnail here, it looks like it has quite an oddball, quite a bunch of monsters here. Tartan, Soul, and Paranormal. But maybe... Oh, that looks quite certain. I also want to point out, I didn't put that on the timeline, but the Meeb Space is another one that everyone has been telling me to check out. I will react to that soon, 100%. I really like PlasmaMSM songs. I have so much I want to react to. Because the next one I want to react to as well. October 22nd, we have NovaMSM's The Amazing Digital Circus Island. Now, I'm saving my reaction to this because Nova's told me they're doing 2 waves of this. So I said to Nova, I will react to it after the second wave. So that's coming soon, and I'm very excited because I've been reacting to the Amazing Digital Circus episodes. I've reacted to 2 so far on MPG Players, and I will be reacting to more soon, hopefully. But that was my year in review. I think this year has been amazing. I think towards the end of the year is when things started to pick back up. I think this year has shown us the importance of spreading out content. I think the islets are amazing, but I think they also left quite a space between updates, I felt. But then all of a sudden having things to look forward to towards the end really brought this year together and reminded me so much why I love My Singing Monsters ever so dearly. This year was so special. In fact, I've never seen so much content come out inside of a year that I do want to pronounce that, because I just was so amazed. There was so much everywhere, and it makes me so excited towards what could happen next year, because I feel like the end of the year was really starting to build up, and I want to see where that build-up goes. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed my year in review, make sure to leave a like down below, and I'll see you later. Till next year, mateys.